my friend. I'm the low rider. The low rider is a little higher.
And welcome to another edition of Tripp's Corner, everybody. I'm Richard Tripp. Sorry we've been away for a few weeks, unfortunately. Had some personal issues to deal with, but we are back. And back with a bang, I guess you can say. We are very honored to be joined by a very good friend of mine, special guest Ron Maestas, former cross-country coach over at New Mexico Highlands University, world champion racquetball player. I mean, name it, official for many, many years here in the state of New Mexico. The resume goes on and on and on. But first, as we like to do, Ron, welcome to the show. Welcome to Tripp's Corner. I'm honored to have a Hall of Famer sitting to my left. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You know, for you, we've known each other for many years, you being an umpire and official, but like we always do on our show, we like to go back to those humble beginnings, as we say. What was it like growing up? I mean, you didn't exactly grow up in a big town. I mean, tell us about growing up.
I grew up in a very small community in southern Colorado. No street lights. The name of the town was Romeo. If you travel Highway 286 up to Alamosa, if you blink, you'll miss my hometown. We had an elementary school there. In order for us to finish elementary and go on to high school, we had our choice to go to La Jara or to Manassas. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the celebrity in Manassas.
No, I'm not.
That is the hometown of Jack Dempsey. I would like to think that I'm the next most famous resident to come out of Manassas, but Jack Dempsey's in a category by himself.
That sounds pretty interesting in its own right, knowing Jack Dempsey, world champion boxer, was from there. But for you growing up in that town, you have any ambitions of boxing? When you're growing up, being that Jack Dempsey was from there?
I did. I used to box as a young man. And about 5 months ago, I finally had to have nose surgery because of the few punches they take to the nose. The San Luis Valley, of course, it's known as the coldest spot in the nation. I check the weather periodically. It's not uncommon the temperature to drop 20, 25 degrees below zero. Wind chill factor is probably another 10 or 15 degrees below that.
Whoa.
But the first chance I had to get out of Colorado, I came to New Mexico. By the way, I'm a two-time graduate from Adams State College. Adams State University now, but
right.
In my day it was the college. I met my wife there. We're both from that area. We just celebrated 50 years of being married. My first teaching job was in Antonito, and the administrators there were Benedictine nuns. And they thought that I should work for the same amount of money that they worked for. I got my first paycheck, and I was coaching, by the way, basketball. And I was a bus driver. And my take-home pay was $205. And when I was working as a work study at Adams State, I used to make $210. And I said, so is this what I'm going to make? So my wife and I moved to Taos. I was at Taos for a couple of years. Taos is a very, very nice community, and I'm just delighted to see them win their state football championship there. It's funny because when I got there, Coach McCarthy had just won the state championship for St. Gertrude's. And everybody in town thought that as they closed that school that everybody's going to come to Taos High School. Well, guess what he did? He moved over to St. Mike's. He took all the Trujillo brothers with him to St. Mike's and won another couple of state championships.
That's pretty remarkable.
I really enjoyed Taos. My firstborn was born in Taos, Lisa. I actually was recruited to become the baseball coach. And after a couple of years, that didn't materialize. So then I moved over to El Rito at New Mexico Technical Vocational School. I spent a year there, and a fellowship became available, the Ford Foundation. At that time, there was a big emphasis on community organizations. The Ford Foundation picked up my entire salary and my travel expenses, my rent expenses to travel the United States. All I had to do was concentrate for 3 months at each location. I started in Washington, D.C. From Washington, D.C., I then went to San Francisco. I went to Phoenix, and then I went to Denver. That was the year that my first son was born. He was born in El Rito. So I teased him about being an Española baby. While I was on the Ford Foundation in Phoenix, I did see a job announcement. Highlands University was looking for an instructor. By the way, every place that I went, we interned at different organizations. Every place that I went, Washington, San Francisco, Phoenix, in the organization that I interned with, they offered me a job. They wanted to hire me permanently. Well, my wife wasn't about to agree to let me stay in Washington. She didn't want me to stay in San Francisco in the Oakland area. She didn't want me to stay in Denver. So I told her, I says, how about Las Vegas? And we visited here. I got the job, and 45 years later, I had a wonderful career here. I was able to teach. I was an administrator. I was the dean of school of business. I served 17 years as the faculty athletic representative. When they switched over to the NCAA, I was selected for the national D1, D2, D3 division-wide infractions committee. I served on that committee for 8 years.
I'll tell you what, Doc, I want to pause you right there because I want to hear more about that. No offense.
Sure.
When we come back, we're going to pick up with Dr. Ron Maestas, continue to talk about these days here at New Mexico Highlands University, his great career here at New Mexico Highlands University, which is where we're filming today's show. And then we get into his great job that he did as a cross-country coach here at Highlands University. We come back, segment 2, Tripp's Corner, right around the corner.
Wondering if you can afford the ring of her dreams? At Crown Jewels & Coin, we actually double the diamond for what you would pay at a chain store. Trade in your old jewelry towards GIA certified diamonds. Choose from a large selection of settings featuring Veragio. We can customize a design and offer no credit check 2-year interest-free financing. Get more than you ever thought possible here at Albuquerque's family jeweler for over 50 years. Crown Jewels & Coin, for all you treasure. 3248 San Mateo at Kruger's Corner.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of ProView Networks. It's been a fan-favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Welcome back to segment 2, everybody, of Tripp's Corner. We're taping this show here at New Mexico Highlands University because, well, we have a very special guest, as you probably saw in segment 1, Dr. Ron Maestas, who during the break is telling us about all his accolades that he's doing. I finally asked him what he's not doing these days. But Ron, before we went to break, you were telling us about some of the things that you have been getting into, your days here at Highlands, a number of years. You've had such an extraordinary career here at Highlands, which has led to other things as well. I didn't want to interrupt you, but going and continue, 47 years?
45 years.
45 years.
45 years at Highlands. By the way, when I came to Highlands, I had a master's degree. I learned very quickly that in order to stay or to achieve tenure, I was going to have to get a term of degree. I looked at a couple of colleges. UNM had a doctorate degree, but you had to do an unpaid internship in a foreign country. It was an international business, so I ended up being accepted at Arizona State University. I spent summers there. If you know anything about the Valley of the Sun, summers are not the best of times to be there, 115, 120 degrees. But I endured, and in 1979, I finished my doctorate degree.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Came back, and by the way, I got tenure here. After that, I did some postdoctoral work. I was at the University of Minnesota for a year, and I was at Indiana University for a year. You know who the famous coach at Indiana University was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one day I decided to try to get into Freedom Hall, and I found one of the service doors open, and they were practicing, and I was in there about 5 minutes, and somebody very famous, I'm going to mention their names, but his initials are Bobby Knight. I want to know how in the H did I get in there and to get the F out of there, and I said, bye.
You had an encounter with BK, I'm sorry. BK.
His initials are Bobby Knight.
But initials are Bobby Knight. I'm going by BK. You know, how many people can, outside of his players and officials, and we're going to get to that in a moment, how many people can honestly say they had an encounter with Bobby Knight? I mean, that you got to take it for what it's worth. He talked to you.
I almost told him I was a pizza guy. Pizza.
Well, you don't know what he would have told you about that. Ron, what I want to kind of switch off into now is, coming back to Highlands, of course, great teaching career that you have, Professor, shall I say, Dr. Ron Maestas, but then the athletic side of it, the cross-country side of it, because there's a banner up right outside when we're doing this interview. One of the special years that you had here as the cross-country coach. But besides being the cross-country coach, man, just so many athletes that you were able to come in contact with.
I was fortunate to basically have New Mexicans, males and females. Didn't have a lot of blue chippers, but they still had gold. No state champions, well, maybe one. Fabian Trujillo, of course, was a track team all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
I found out much later in life that my good friend Joe Vigil up in Alamosa tried to steal him away from me. And his brother and his sister says, why are you going to go to Alamosa? You've got a maid here with Ron. Fabian Trujillo became a 4-time All-American, and he became a Hall of Famer in the NAIA. But I had some outstanding athletes from Espanola. I had 5 Romeros from Santa Fe. I had 4 Willies from Santa Fe Indian School. I had some runners from Laguna Acoma, from Jemez, from Grants, from Crown Point, Pecos. James Branch ran for me. James Branch and Fabian Trujillo thought they were basketball players. And I had to remind Fabian Trujillo how many Hall of Famers, how many All-American he made in basketball, and he said none. He said, how many times did you make All-American in cross country? He said, 4 times. So what were you, a runner or a basketball player?
That's incredible. I grew up with Fabian, of course, and tragically, Fabian was taken from us a few years ago. But again, in a couple of minutes we have left here, is there anything about any of those teams or any special team, any special runner outside of just, you did it, besides being a great coach, you are one of the all-time great motivators, ambassadors, and you raise these, and I'm going to say raise these runners like your own.
Right. And after 3 or 4 months of training, everyone is at the same physiological level. The difference between what I consider the pretenders and the contenders are the psychological. And I think that's where I was able to get these guys to dig deep and to compete with the best at the best level. And we were ranked in the top 10 9 out of 10 years that I coached. In 1987, we finished 2nd, national runner-up. And it was funny because the first time I went, I took Lawrence Venanco as a single individual. The field, it was 500 runners. At the registration desk, there were trophies, team trophies. I'll never get any of those. The following year, boom, we finished 4th. And the following year after that, I finished 4th again.
Wow.
In 1987, the best team I ever had was 2nd at Nationals.
That's incredible. Tell you what, we got 1 segment left. When we come back, we're going to find out about Dr. Ron Maestas, the basketball, wrestling, baseball official, if you will, the Hall of Fame, which he was recently inducted to, much, much more, including the author, Dr. Ron Maestas. And we come back, segment 3 of Tripp's Corner coming up.
Don't forget, every ProView Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewnetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Wondering if you can afford the ring of her dreams? At Crown Jewels and Coin, we actually double the diamond for what you would pay at a chain store. Trade in your old jewelry towards GIA certified diamonds. Choose from a large selection of settings featuring Viraggio. We can customize a design and offer no credit check 2-year interest-free financing. Get more than you ever thought possible here at Albuquerque's family jeweler for over 50 years. Crown Jewels and Coin, for all you treasure. 3248 San Mateo at Kruger's Corner.
Segment 3 of Tripp's Corner, and I'm telling you, we're having a good time here between break. You don't want to know what we're talking about, but they're good memories, I'll tell you that. Dr. Ron Maestas is our guest, and Doc, now, in the time we have left, we only have like about 7 minutes. There's so much that we would like to talk about, but I want to talk about you as the official, because Dr. Ron here, believe it or not, there's a shortage of officials big time here in the state of Mexico and across the country. We get it. But this man sitting to my left has been officiating in the state of Mexico for 50 years. And every year, here comes the battle cry, should this be the last? And it's people like Dr. Ron Maestas in the world of officiating that we just got to say 2 words, Doc. Thank you. It's been a pretty good career officiating.
It's been a wonderful ride. I stay officiating because it's my means of staying in contact with high school kids. And high school kids deserve good officials.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through my share of high school coaches. The famous Joe Page, the famous Bobby Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Worked some very good games. I was called in by NMA one time to work a championship game at Cuesta with James Branch, coach, and they were playing Mesa Vista. And James Branch goes up there and he hugs me while we're standing at the center court. And I said, James, get your hands off me. Coach, come on, I haven't seen you for a long time. James, get your hands off me. I am not here as your coach. Meanwhile, the coach from Mesa Vista, Jerry Villarreal, is staring us down and says, what are these guys got up their sleeve? But I've had a wonderful experience to the NMAA. I've called 23 state tournaments. Called state softball tournament last year.
Right.
But it's been wonderful. I've gone through all of the executive directors, starting from
The Odell?
Before Odell.
You were there before Odell, then. You got me.
I was there with South Riedel. I was there with Gary Tripp. You know. His name just ran off but before Odell.
Mm-hmm. You know, you've had a great run there. I know we're trying to squeeze a lot here in the short time because I want to tell the people this too. You're also a national champion in racquetball, you and your son.
Well, the secret to that is in doubles, if you can get yourself a good partner, of which I have a good partner, we won 7 national titles. And last year, I've got to tell you this story. We were at the national doubles in Oakland, California. We had bought tickets for the Warriors Houston Rockets game. We won our first match, we won our second match, we won our third match. Lo and behold, we're now in the finals. The final game was supposed to be, a match was supposed to be at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock went to 4:30, 4:30 went to 5. So we finally asked the opponents, is there any way we can reschedule this match to the following day? Guess what they said?
No.
No. So Raymond says, all right, Dad, let's go in there and beat the heck out of these guys. We beat them 15-2, 15-1. We jumped on the subway, made it to the Coliseum, got into our seats just as the ball was tossed up.
And I know I got pictures to prove he was there too. You know, Doc, again, we're kind of going through the highlights, if you will. But you surprised me with something before we came on the air that I didn't even suspect. You're an author now.
Well, I just finished.
That's pretty cool.
I just got delivered my book, 937 pages, full color of New Mexico colonial traditional art. I don't know, you know Cruz Flores?
Yes, I do.
Tremendous santero.
Mm-hmm.
You know Margarito Mondragon?
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous santero. You know Ron Garcia? Tremendous santeros. I have about 45 artists which are a Spanish market experts throughout this book. It is the most comprehensive book on the market today. Full color. It's going to be a little expensive, but my son Raymond says, I wouldn't pay $129 for a book. I said, well, have you gone to the bookstore lately?
Yeah.
I says, a law book will cost you $500.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really excited about the book. It's been a labor of love. I consider myself blessed, and these artists really open up their homes and their hearts to me, and it's a beautiful book. I wish I'd brought a copy with it, but
Now, where can people get the book? Or
it's going to be on Amazon.com,
Mhm.
and then I did post it today on Facebook. This morning before I got here, I've sold 7 copies just off that one posting.
He's in the market, people. Someday we have to make a movie about Dr. Ron, the life and times thereof. You know, go ahead.
But you know, when you have, I'm retired now.
Mm-hmm.
I try to exercise the mind. I try to exercise the body playing racquetball. And you got to see my son and I play racquetball, because he, see that little baseboard over there? He will put nearly every shot on that baseboard. And I have what I call the old man's serve, which is a lob serve, and I can put it right on the wall. And there's no way you can attack that on an offensive shot. So what happens is the opponents leave that ball high, and that's where Raymond steps in and just puts it down.
That, my friend, is called teamwork.
But it's a tremendous honor to play with my son. And I've won a national championship with my other son too, Dominic,
Mm-hmm.
and I won a singles title. So racquetball is good. You know, the racquetball courts here were some of the best courts in the state. And now the city has some glass courts,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some good players here in Las Vegas.
Take them on.
You
Take
know-
them all on.
You know who one of the better players next to my son is Mike Nava. You know, Mike Nava was a converted tennis
Right.
player, lefty,
Mm-hmm.
and those tennis players do have a style of their own.
Everything's backwards.
Everything's back.
Everything comes a different side. You know, Doc, in a couple of minutes that we have left here, you know, you've had such a storied career, but there's one person, and you kind of mentioned her a couple of times here, but we'd be remiss. Your wife has been the model wife, cheerleader, captain of your family, call it what you want.
Absolutely.
Such an amazing.
She's been an angel. She has been an angel. She has agreed to follow me around all over the country. When I said I wanted to go to a doctorate, she said, let's go. When I said, I have this fellowship, she said, let's go. And she has been so supportive. It's almost like we think alike. We finish each other's sentences. I don't know what I'd do without her. I would not be here today without her right next to me. Not behind me, not in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
right with me.
You know, Doc, the one item we didn't get a chance to get to, but I want to congratulate you on it. We have a few seconds left. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Marty Sisa, New Mexico Hall of Fame, awesome.
And you know, I joined Don Woods, Lionel Taylor, and now Charlie Humps Cowan, all New Mexico Highlands people. It's a tremendous organization. You know, it's
Mhm.
when you look in there, you know, for a year now, I've been kind of in awe, and I said, how did I make it? You know, but it's been people like you, coaches, you guys have put up with me too, players, you know, Las Vegas itself was very supportive. Last year they have a voting system on Facebook. I ended up with 1,600 votes from Las Vegas. So the good people in Las Vegas have been tremendous in my career.
You've had a great career. Doc, man, awesome. Not very often I get to interview a Hall of Famer. I want to thank Dr. Ron Maestas for being our guest on Tripp's Corner. Thank you, everybody, for being patient. Our show will be shown once a week. But again, Doc, thank you very much, man. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
That's it. Till next time, everybody. I'm Richard Tripp. Peace, everybody. I'm out.